ActionSA in the Eastern Cape has written to Premier Oscar Mabuyane requesting that he resign. This in light of the allegations levelled against him about his academic qualifications. Mabuyane allegedly tried to earn a bogus PhD in public administration from the University of Fort Hare. Athol Trollip is ActionSA Eastern Cape Provincial Chairperson, and he joins us now for more on this and also just to discuss that statement released by the political party regarding this matter. Athol, thank you for joining me, and good morning to you. I want to start with this because it seems to be a going trend with at least some of our political leaders here when it comes to these bogus, degrees or masters or PhD. Where exactly is the gap and where is the problem when it comes to institutions of higher learning being allegedly involved in granting these degrees to political leaders or even government officials?
Good morning, Tumelo. I'm going to restrict myself to Fort Hare and the matter about Oscar Mabuyane and his predecessor, Athol Trollip, who is now the new Minister of Public Service and Administration. So just to illustrate what's happening here, first of all, Fort Hare University is an illustrious university with many of its alumni becoming significant leaders on the African continent and in South Africa in particular. And what we have here are allegations about two senior ANC luminaries, both being premiers of the province, both studying in inverted commas at Fort Hare, paid for by the public purse, under a course that is administered by somebody that has now been disclosed as a complete fraud. And it appears from a forensic audit that Mr. Mabuyane's qualifications are seriously questionable. And I can only say that this illustrates the kind of self-aggrandizement that has become commonplace with the ANC. Everyone is reaching for a better qualification to enhance their status within the organization. So let me just juxtapose where we are. In Fort Hare, we've got these bogus degrees. We've got complete chaos at that university with people being murdered, attempted assassinations, even on the Vice-Chancellor. Fraud and corruption are rampant at that institution, and there's a deafening silence by the Premier, obviously because he himself is implicated in a fraudulent degree qualification where it's like a vending machine. You just vend a made-to-order degree to the people who are paying the university. If you look at Walter Sisulu University, a nearby university in Buffalo City and also in Ngoma municipality, there you have students that have been studying for many years. There's an accreditation problem there. They've been legitimate students, have been working hard, they've been sent there by the parents or being paid for by NSFAS, but they can't get their qualifications, or their qualifications are questionable because of poor administration and attention to detail. So here we have a comparison. In the Eastern Cape, we have the highest unemployment. We've got the highest youth unemployment, nearly 70%. Many of those people are graduates that have got legitimate degrees that they've worked hard for and their parents have sacrificed extraordinarily for, and they can't get work. And then we've got two premiers who are probably some of the best paid people in the province, who study for free because the state has paid for it, to get a bogus degree that they don't qualify for. This is simply unacceptable, and Oscar Mabuyane is going to have to either defend himself, not in the court of public opinion, because all people like him do is they say this is a political, smear campaign. That's not good enough. He must contest the findings of the forensic report in court, and if he cannot prove his innocence, we must assume that he must accept responsibility for his guilt. But you can't just carry on being the premier while this cloud is hanging over his head. We expect the president to suspend Athol Trollip until she can prove that her degree qualifications are not fraudulent, and we expect the Eastern Cape legislature to suspend Oscar Mabuyane. We marched on Bishu on the 26th of April, demanding that Premier Mabuyane disclose the status of his so-called degree. Now, we've heard nothing about that, and we know that ANC politicians do not resign. So we expect the president to take action, we expect the legislature to take action.
Athol, also, I think, and I stand to be corrected here, it seems you're also calling for the Premier to resign or be suspended, because you're saying this is not the first time. This is not the first time that you have witnessed unethical conduct from Premier Oscar Mabuyane. In your statement, you also make reference to him benefiting improperly from misappropriated funds from the Winnie Madikizela Mandela municipality, almost exactly saying that unethical conduct seems to be the order of the day when it comes to the Premier.
What we find with senior ANC leaders is often they go and appear before the ANC Integrity Commission and they're found not guilty. Well, you know, the integrity of the Integrity Commission of the ANC is completely questionable. But I'll give you an illustration, Tumelo. When I was previously in the provincial legislature, at the time of Nelson Mandela's funeral, a former premier, Phumulo Moswale, had money paid into his personal account by the Director General of the Treasury. And when I questioned this in the legislature, because there's no provision for those kind of payments to be made either to a sitting premier or MEC or anybody like that, I was then suspended from the legislature and fined a month's salary because I had the impertinence to put those kind of questions to the Premier. Well, of course, I contested that in the High Court. They subsequently withdrew from the case and they had to apologize to me publicly in the next legislature sitting. But they had spent a lot of money with many advocates to defend the indefensible. Now, we've seen this with Oscar Mabuyane as well. There are allegations that he benefited inappropriately or illegally during the funeral of Winnie Mandela. And, you know, he simply has just got off scot-free without being tested in any court. So we're saying that if our criminal justice system is to have any kind of credibility, they should be able to prosecute anybody without any fear, whether they're the premier of the province or whether they're the man in the street. And we don't see that happening.
We'll leave it there. Athol Trollip, thank you for joining me right here on NewsLink. ActionSA eNCA Provincial Chairperson. That's Athol Trollip, of course, at the back of that statement released by the political party that Oscar Mabuyane needs to either be suspended or he needs to resign, following, of course, allegations levelled against him that he had tried to attain a bogus PhD degree.